Gemini and Gemini rising. Okay, so Gemini, this is important because you're a Mercury ruled sign. I would highly recommend you take my Mercury retrograde course because it will help you cope. Mercury is retrograde in the house of ideas for you, big ideas, and the house of your philosophies. It's a time where you're reassessing your worldview, maybe reassessing your perspective on your, your faith, reassessing your faith, looking at whether you still have it, and this could be faith in yourself, looking at what you have achieved. And Gemini risings in particular had a pretty heavy, we all had a heavy year, but with all of that Saturn, Capricorn, Pluto, Jupiter, Capricorn energy last year in the 8th house of crisis and change and sort of death, rebirth, that last year was intense. And now it's a good time to kind of reflect on what you've gone through and achieved and where that leaves you now. Like, where am I now? What is how do I want to change the way I view the world and my own experience to, fit the growth, to kind of integrate the growth of the last year. This is a really interesting placement for Mercury retrograde in that it asks you to reconnect with your higher self. The 9th house is the house of faith. It's the house of higher learning. It's the house of education. It could be that you are ready to share some knowledge yourself, or that you're very hungry for learning and advancing your own education. But the mind and its big ideas, big perspectives, channeled wisdom, divine downloads, all of that is very highlighted for Gemini rising because it's in the 9th house. Now, I know some of the folks that come on this call who are Gemini risings are lawyers, and that 9th house is the house of the law. So it could also be, if you're in that industry, you are really hunkering down and focusing on justice, issues of justice, and maybe having to refine your arguments, maybe having to really hone your perspective on a case or on a opinion, and what it says about where the world is right now. Because this is, the 9th house is international. It's like global issues. It's like big worldview stuff. And so having Mercury retrograde in that place, it's like real kind of come to Jesus moment, if you will, around where your ideas, your arguments, your opinions, where that all fits into the larger conversation that's going on in the culture. So that feels good. I do want to say for all the air signs, this Mercury retrograde is not necessarily negative. It's trine your decan. There's that word again. It's trine your sign. So having the Mercury retrograde in an air sign, which, and this is something I'm going to have in my free ebook coming up this week. I describe what Mercury in retrograde in the air signs means. And Mercury likes air as an element. It's very functional in that intellectual and quick-witted element. It really likes air. So even retrograde, it's better than it would be if it were in a water sign in retrograde, for example. It's more functional than the typical retrograde. It's still difficult, but I like it because it really deepens our intellectual understanding of an issue. And for Gemini, these are big issues. These are big ideas. So it's not just small potatoes contemplation for you. Horoscope wise, because it's just not as big of a week. I say that, and then something's probably going to happen. Monday, Tuesday, pretty decent days, especially for the air fire. Wednesday, Thursday, more problematic, especially for water, earth, and I would say especially for all the fixed signs. That's Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. Those are tougher days, Wednesday, Thursday, for everybody, especially the fixed signs. And then Friday, Saturday, pretty good, pretty decent. And then we'll leave next week to next Sunday. But that's And so for the air signs, yes, Mercury retrograde is going to be focusing your energy on reassessment wherever it's landing in your chart. For Gemini, it's in those big ideas. It's in where do I still have faith? What do I have faith in? How do I continue to cultivate that faith when I have to readjust my whole worldview? Venus moving into that 9th house, this could just bring in maybe some interesting new people into your life that are from other cultures, that are, at a long distance. It could be that you are really focusing on something in that international realm or in that cultural exchange vibe that is requiring that you change your beliefs.